Hello. Welcome back to Almighty Blues FC, a fan channel for all to see. और हाँ, energy high है, despite जो हो रहा है in of course my club, that is Chelsea Football Club, but most importantly जो हो रहा है world में, our thoughts definitely go out again to Ukraine, especially जो I think there is news कि कुछ footballers unfortunately lost their lives today. So really, our thoughts go to them, as in their souls hopefully should rest in peace, and let's get an end to it. And the sooner the better. But yeah, talking about basically, as in losing something, coming back to Chelsea, आप देख ही रहे हो, बहुत सारा न्यूज़ हो रहा है. We discussed on last night's stream, लेकिन I thought it's best to finally get a neutral perspective. उसका and of course a lot more क्योंकि yes, Manchester Derby is coming up this weekend, and a lot of football, cup football जो हो रहा है, and Spurs. I'm sure Spurs fans will not like to remember, लेकिन Sadiq bhai in the house. Sadiq bhai, welcome back to Almighty Blues FC. क्या लग रहा है, क्या चल रहा है आपके मन में जो हो रहा है लास्ट 48 hours में in football and of course the world?
Thank you for inviting me, Ankit bhai. The thing is that especially in the last 24 to 48 hours, things have been very fluid. In fact, my cousin, who's a Chelsea fan for a pretty long time, almost around जब से आप हैं तकरीबन from 2000 early 2000s, तो उसको मैंने मैसेज किया. He's like उसको अभी तक अपडेट ही नहीं मिला था. He had just come back from work and said कि भाई ये चैरिटी फंड में जा रहा है, तो this is just like Roman will still remain. I said ये नहीं है, there is some other news also, there are some bids being piled on. When he saw that, he's like, oh, things have changed very rapidly.
एक एक घंटे में चेंज हो रहा है. एंड I really don't know, like मैं तो almost kind of speechless हूँ. and I think बहुत लोगों ने देखा होगा मेरे streams, and there are mixed reactions. लेकिन हाँ, गौरव, shout out यार, happy birthday, big support of the channel, of course. Enjoy करिए, hopefully you stay safe. At the same time, sports talk in Mahim, of course, big supporter as well. Thank you, join करने के लिए भाई. And of course City Hub, yes, of course, we are all for peace, let's put it that way. We are all for peace. That is the bottom line. No one wants war. That's what we all are for. And City Hub, of course, आपको देख के अच्छा लगता है हमेशा. Then what about this? I think please bless me. Yes, of course. Sadiq bhai, definitely, right?
Happy birthday, Gaurav.
Absolutely. And हम आएंगे ट्रांसफर्स पर. आयुष, we'll come to transfers. Lot of things might change. जो हुआ है चेल्सी में, we'll come to that. We'll come to transfers, EPL, FA Cup, and most importantly जो topic है about Chelsea, the ownership and ownership in football in general, right? Adit Shankar, hope new era is also beautiful as this era was. We can only hope. हम तो वही बोलेंगे. And of course, thanks a lot आपका super chat के लिए. Sports Talk in Mind, huge shout out. सब लोग चेक करिए इन्हें भी. Yes, of course, Santosh Kumar Shetty is in the house. Thank you. And interesting, I have a few questions ready Sadiq bhai के लिए. मैं actually क्या करने वाला हूँ, like always, I'm going to start questions. Time रहा तो we'll certainly come back to these questions, Ayush and everyone else. Hopefully that's fair. और आप जो भी देख रहे हैं, पोल लीजिए, like the stream and do share the stream. Subscribe करिए यार, most importantly. काफी दफा हम लोग देखते हैं, we forget to subscribe, and that's what I do as default as a viewer. तो आप subscribe करिए, certainly helps. It doesn't cost you, but yeah, certainly Sadiq bhai in the house. So हम बहुत बात करने वाले. Well, Sadiq bhai, कहाँ से शुरू करें? Like, come on, we have to start, of course, with the news. And जो लोग को पता नहीं है, by chance they may have been busy. Last 24 hours में काफी चीज change हुई है, हर 2 घंटों में almost. So this is what I can give you a quick update. Roman Abramovich, apparently अब तो apparent नहीं है, खैर, all the tier 1 journalists are agreeing to that. He is basically ready for a sale as pressure grows. ESPN तक has told that basically this is fact. The pressure is growing on Abramovich, and sanctions are imminent. इसीलिए वो is on the verge of selling Chelsea, और वो accept करने वाले bid in and around 3 billion के range में. So 3 billion is huge, but I don't know, for me, again, because tier 1 journalists बोल रहे हैं, that is something that I go by. And of course, एक बहुत बड़ा न्यूज़ है जो, by the way, मैंने एक short video किया था. People watching, do press that bell notification icon, because we do short videos of updates every now and then. So Hans-Jörg Weiss, who's basically, I think, a Swiss billionaire, 86-year-old Swiss billionaire, and he has actually gone and said in an interview saying that Roman is already selling assets, and he is getting together a US consortium of investors. In fact, last 2 घंटों में ये भी आई है, सादिक भाई, informal bids के लिए डेडलाइन सेट कर रहे हैं रोमन अब्रामोविच, एंड इफ something drastic doesn't happen, Chelsea may be sold by our next home game in the EPL, जो ironically होगा न्यूकासल के साथ, और हम जानते हैं टेक ओवर द न्यूकासल, right? And that is basically what it is. Like 20 years, I know for the neutrals, it's kind of a story in itself. So that is,
थोड़ा
yes.
बहुत
By the
मुझे
way,
पता चला है. Again, through the same cousin of mine who's there in the UK. He's actually in the finance. He's a CA, so he's in the financial world out there. So he was saying that there's a guy known as Todd Boehly, Boehly. He has got some 25% stake in the Los Angeles Dodgers, as well as he's got 27% stake in the LA Lakers also of the NBA. So that guy is also considered to be part of the consortium that they're looking at. But again, the thing is, he's again one of those kind of hedge fund kind of managers who has got his pie in a lot of different. I mean, his hand in a lot of different pies. So again, as बाबा का जो स्ट्रीम था जो इवनिंग में,
right.
उसमें मैंने ये लिखा था कि the issue is that if it's an American hedge fund or an American sports owner, अगर American sports owner आता है तो you know what you're dealing with. You're dealing with another Glazer and a Kroenke. For them, this is like their way to park the money out of USA and then transition it in a different route into their sports and into their businesses back home. And if it's a hedge fund, then obviously we all know how we have all read about hedge funds, how they work. They buy distressed assets and then they try to clear it of all its debt and to sell it off at a higher price. And clearing a football club of its debt means no new signings, no new transactions, and basically the club will, the on-field product suffers as a result of that.
Interesting.
So either of those two propositions are not that good. It should be someone similar to what Roman Abramovich was, like a single owner who came in with his money, with the passion to do good for the, for the club. Unlike, again, we have had single owners like a Mike Ashley at Newcastle previously, and we saw what happened there as well. So it's owners like Roman are rare. So that's why it's, I would say, pretty uncertain times for you and all other Chelsea fans.
मतलब बहुत ही मिक्स्ड फीलिंग्स है, मतलब मिक्स्ड या मतलब ऑब्वियसली इज नॉट गुड, बट एट द सेम टाइम देयर इज सम अमाउंट ऑफ होप, दैट इज व्हाट रोमन बिल्ड किया है इन टर्म्स ऑफ द डीएनए ऑफ द क्लब. लेकिन सुपर टॉमी टुकल, थैंक यू बताने के लिए. ये कॉनर मैकग्रेगर has just tweeted, like, again, I don't know whether it's a pun or whether it's in reality. That's something that time ही बताएगा. And that's the thing, right? क्योंकि for neutrals it's become a story. It's much more than that. It's an emotion. आप जानते हो सादिक भाई how it feels like, being a Manchester United fan over the years, आपने देखा है वो. तो let's actually talk about
We have
that, क्योंकि
suffered
आपने
through it,
briefly
16 years and suffering.
Exactly. तो Glazers का आपने बोला, why, as in the US element of it is, something that we have to be really careful about. Roman and team will know about it. मतलब because you have live, kind of examples for years together. लेकिन
भाई आप
whatever.
FSG भी देख लो. FSG जिसे हम, which is the most successful version of that US ownership, is not as successful as the Boston Red Sox franchises. I mean, many people here might have seen the movie Moneyball that we propagate so much these days in terms of how to build a team. Moneyball में जो villain team थी, so-called villain team थी, the protagonist team was the Oakland A's. The villain team was Boston Red Sox, which is the team of the Fenway Sports Group. So with that, you can understand that how much they invest in their own home-based sport teams and how much do they invest in any other such venture that they have across the world.
True. Again, big shout out Devils United के लिए. बहुत अच्छा चैनल है, Manchester United fan the house, Maisie, and she knows her stuff inside out across the Premier League and more, right? So do check out वो भी अगर हो सके तो, people watching. Can Mukesh Ambani buy Chelsea? Yeah, I know it has started from fake news and it has kind of blown out of proportions already. Why not? Lekin will he? Should he? I have my doubts. So what do you think?
Again, it's the same issue. You need to have see what Chelsea was under Roman. I think that's probably done. But again, for the good of the club, you need an owner who comes in with his money, who's coming in not to gain he should come with a clear mindset that a football club is not a profit owning. It's not a profit making business. It's more of like a passion project or a hobby for someone with that much amount of money. So that's why it's important. If a Saudi prince is interested, that's a good thing, because they come in with the mindset that we just need to buy. But then again, wouldn't it be a,
managing.
नहीं, like wouldn't it be like a clash? वो हो जाता है ना, क्या बोलते हैं, a same owner cannot own two वो. तो if a Saudi prince is interested, either he's coming with his own money, or again it's the PIF. So the PIF can't buy two clubs in the same
Exactly,
league.
because it's a state owned thing. I get your point, क्योंकि एक ही हो सकता है. That's absolutely a
मतलब एक
fact.
कंपनी एक ही, मतलब एक कंपनी या एक इंडिविजुअल एक लीग में एक ही क्लब खरीद सकती है.
ट्रू. एक्चुअली ये क्वेश्चन मेरा नेक्स्ट ही होने वाला था सादिक भाई. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल अंशुल, थैंक्स फॉर द क्वेश्चन. एंड ऑफ कोर्स जो भी क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहा है, आई एम पिकिंग आउट बेस्ड ऑन द टॉपिक जो हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं अभी. रिमेनिंग क्वेश्चन मैं स्टार कर रहा हूं, एंड आई विल कम बैक टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ द स्ट्रीम. एंड डोंट गेट डिसअपॉइंटेड पीपल, एंड अगेन डू स्मैश दैट लाइक बटन सो दैट ज्यादा लोग आए और हम ज्यादा डिस्कशन करें. नॉट जस्ट अबाउट चेल्सी, विल कम टू मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड एंड अदर क्लब्स एज वेल, सिटी एज वेल. आई नो सिटी फैन हाउस. Will the current situation affect players signing for the club? अब Liverpool's players signing for the club, हम ऑफ कैमरा वही डिस्कस करते हैं सादिक भाई. और आपका क्या ओपिनियन है? आई थिंक एस्पिलिक्वेटा, रूडिगर, अलोंसो, जॉर्जिनियो, 4 ऑफ द स्टेलर नेम्स जो है इन टर्म्स ऑफ सीनियरिटी ऑलरेडी लाइन अप हो गए फॉर पॉसिबल डिपार्चर्स. अब दिस इज द
देखो,
टर्मोइल पीरियड फॉर चेल्सी, सो डोंट यू थिंक इट्स द
the
टाइम
thing
वेयर
is
हमें
कि,
वी शुड कीप देम?
हाँ देखो अंकित भाई, द प्रॉब्लम हियर इज कि इट डिपेंड्स कि आपके जो फ्री एजेंट्स हैं, and how quickly do you sort this scenario out, and who comes in. As you're saying that most likely Christensen, though, well, it was before all this happened. I mean, almost for the last 2 months he's been having negotiations with Barca, and probably this just sort of triggered him to get the deal done faster. But the scenario, as like coming back to the question that Anshul asked, the scenario here is such that as soon as you get it sorted out, that is important for the players to start negotiating with that. With that in mind, that who is the new owner. If they get new owners, then obviously Chelsea is sustainable enough on their own for like another 2 to 3 years, where the salaries and things won't be an issue. So in that case, you would be able to retain your free agents and your veteran players. What will be more important is how active could Chelsea be in the transfer market, and how much funds would they be allotted. Again, another important factor here is that how would Marina Granovskaya work with the new owners, because what Chelsea is today in the last decade is mostly based on Marina's hard work. She's your chief negotiator. She's the, what do you say, she's the woman who closes the deal basically. तो अगर उसका नया, and she had a very close knit relationship with Roman Abramovich. So it depends how she deals with the new owners, whosoever they are. And another thing is, say if Roman is not able to sell this in due course of time, and then he's sanctioned. If he's sanctioned, then there would be there would be a lot of difficulty for him to transfer the funds into Chelsea as it is supposed to be transferred, because हर साल चेल्सी का ईयर एंड पे एक डेट, मतलब जब आपका ऑडिट होता है क्लब का एट द ईयर ऑफ द एंड, Chelsea is a club that is running in debt, and every year that debt is underwritten by Roman Abramovich.
Exactly. Because so it's not Roman Abramovich, na? He actually owns a company which owns Chelsea.
Matlab, if he is sanctioned, then all of his firms are sanctioned as a byproduct of that. And then if those firms are sanctioned, then the transition of money from that firm from one section to another, the banking channels and all those things will also become a whole lot more difficult for you to function. Mm-hmm. So then it becomes, well, if Marina goes with Roman, then
I'm just playing. I don't know. But like, he has a point. Super Tommy Tuchel has a point. Because I know we cannot compare. It's like chalk and cheese. Lekin aap kuch bhi, in terms of, you see most of the footballing kind of, administrative setups. वो होता है. You actually have a team with you, and you go to a certain club with that team. Marina especially, क्योंकि we know, सादिक भाई आपको याद है, Michael Emenalo was huge. He was a huge figure, and he did lots जो बहुत undermine किया जाता है. The youth setup, loan setup आप जो देख रहे हो, what all was under Michael Emenalo जो setup हुआ था, and he was criticized at the time. People realized towards the end of his tenure what it has the future bearings. Exactly. When he went, there was huge outcry from a lot of traditional Chelsea supporters as well. हाँ, एक जगह पे people are happy, but there were a lot of people who were not happy as well. So Marina going now been voted as the best director. Not just her. I think Bruce Buck being the chairman for so long. Petr Cech, because see Roman knew Cech obviously because of playing days, he was all under his ownership. So एक authority दी गई है उन्हें. Roman was not even in the country, and these guys actually got the authority. With the new people, maybe they feel insecure. So there's a high possibility. So where do Chelsea go from there?
देखो इट्स द सेम थिंग ना, लाइक जो जब ग्लेजर्स आए थे, बिफोर ग्लेजर्स सर एलेक्स हैड अ वेरी इंडिपेंडेंट हैंड ऑन हाउ द क्लब फंक्शन. So when the glazers came in, they started constricting his authority slowly and slowly. But the good thing was we had a person like David Gill who had the glazers ear and who was sort of a buffer between the two. Now here we don't know what kind of people are going to come in and what kind of buffer will be created, or will Marina Granskova and those people will be like, in connection with her, and how comfortable she will be working with them, because we all know she had a very good working relationship with Roman. I mean, she was basically Roman Abramovich personified when she used to deal with different clubs. तो
Exactly,
उधर आपको कोई
exactly.
प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता था. So it's a very
Mhm.
fluid situation right now, and again, as I said, it depends on who comes in and how fast they come in, because say if they are not able to come in before Roman gets sanctioned, then you're going to lose a whole lot many more players, because then you will be potentially staring at a
Forced.
situation which is similar to what, I mean, not similar, but in the same vein as what was seen by Derby County and other clubs that have gone into administration because of not being able to pay, because they were not just able to pay their wages, they were not able to pay their other things, and they were not able to clear the debt off at the end of the season.
True, true, true.
The issue
यहाँ
started
पर
with the debt.
कुछ क्वेश्चंस पीपल लाइक आई जस्ट लाइक टू क्विकली हाईलाइट हियर. हाँ, आपने शायद लेट ज्वाइन किया है स्ट्रीम, वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस, सो होपफुली आप यू डू ट्यून बैक एंड चेक आउट, क्योंकि वी वुड लाइक टू मूव फॉरवर्ड अभी के लिए. इफ टाइम परमिट्स विल कम बैक टू द क्वेश्चंस फॉर श्योर एंड अदर क्वेश्चंस एज वेल फॉर श्योर, राइट. लेकिन हाँ सादिक भाई, तो यू आर टेलिंग अबाउट बेसिकली हाउ द थिंग्स चेंज. लेकिन एक चीज सादिक भाई आया था लास्ट 2 दिन में, आई नो वो नकार दिया गया था इन टर्म्स ऑफ रोमन ट्राइंग टू बी द पीस मेकर. Probably that is the last hope, if any, for things to change. Because I think Roman
I
has
think
cannot look back.
that bit of news was also not very true. It was more of a query fake, query planted kind of a news or something like that. उसका कोई ऐसा solid source नहीं था.
ये देखिए, ये great question by the way. Thank you for the question, people. Like this one, will the new owners back to like Abramovich promised before all this happened? मेरा एक point है, मैं actually 2-3 स्ट्रीम में discuss कर चुका हूँ सादी को. I wanted your opinion. I actually feel एक incling feeling आ रही है. It's not just now. Last 1.5 सालों में देखा जाए तो Chelsea hasn't really invested as much after that Lampard जो under transfer ban थे, and after that we had made those signings. We really have not invested in terms of the number of investments, and not just that, even off the pitch, right? Somehow maybe आप बोल सकते हो Roman Abramovich wasn't in the country. That might be one of the strong reasons. He didn't have the super visa, if I'm not wrong. And of course वो transfer ban भी था 2 साल पहले, तो we have to be a little bit more careful, whatever be it. Maybe Abramovich and team have been already thinking about it, because if you remember last year था Radcliffe, the richest person in UK. I think he had possibly speculatively offered, just like
That was a
McGregor
couple of
has
years
stated.
back. That was prior to COVID.
Exactly.
That was prior
हाँ,
to the
तो
COVID outbreak. ऐसा कुछ news निकला था.
around the
But then
transfer ban,
Roman,
exactly.
but then Roman himself had rubbished it off. And I think probably the plan was that they had already, Chelsea had invested a significant amount 2 transfer markets back. So the next thing could be probably क्या कहते हैं इसको, they were probably planning कि इस season give Tuchel time with this squad that he had, and even if you say you did not spend anything, you got £100 million striker in the summer. I mean, see, he may have worked, not worked, that's a different thing, but there was an investment in this summer also, and probably they were planning to let Tuchel then decide on the transfer policy in the summer. But then this changes the whole scenario, because as I said, most important thing is who comes in place of Roman, or who are the people who come in place of him, and then you will understand how they are working. Whether as I said, hedge funds usually just come in for a year or two when they come into sports ownership. The history of hedge funds, whether you take any sport for that matter, they come in for a year or two just to sort of stabilize the financial side of the club, and then sell it off to another buyer. Now the issue with Chelsea is that if Roman Abramovich is not at the back of Chelsea, then Chelsea is financially a losing business, basically, like all other football clubs. So,
Yeah,
so to make it into that profitable entity, they will sell off a lot of things. The most prized assets of a football club are its talent, unfortunately.
yeah, absolutely. I 100%
So
relate to
that's what I'm
that.
saying. If you're looking at a hedge fund coming in, then you're looking at some painful years for Chelsea.
Oh
If
my
you're
God.
looking at a bunch of owners coming in who are not a hedge fund or that, then Chelsea has this strong stream. Then probably what you will see more is you will see a lot of your youth players getting the chance to graduate into the first team. जो अभी तक आप लोगों का एक वो था ना कि हमारे यूथ प्लेयर्स ग्रेजुएट अच्छे प्लेयर्स हैं वो ग्रेजुएट होने वाले होते हैं एंड वी इमीडिएटली गेट अनदर टैलेंट फ्रॉम आउटसाइड इन दैट सेम पोजीशन. Probably you will see a lot of your own homegrown talent. Cobham will be representing Chelsea a whole lot more than in previous years.
मैं इस पे आने वाला था, बट या शाउट आउट अगेन स्पोर्ट्स टॉक विद माहिम के लिए. थैंक्स भाई. एंड अगेन विल कम टू योर क्वेश्चन. मैंने आपका क्वेश्चन भी स्टार्ट किया है. विल कम बैक टू दैट विद अ फ्यू अदर क्वेश्चंस जो बाकी लोग ने पूछा है. यहाँ पर आ जाते. Can you tell me which are the best news media houses for football transfers? Like, honestly, again, I would rather say that for certain clubs, you have certain kind of, as in tier one journalists. I actually follow them because they actually have, in-house news of what actually happens. That's actually official,
I
more
would
so.
say
But
sticking to the whole athletic team that deals with the Premier League is a pretty decent option.
mhm.
मतलब जो एथलेटिक के जो जर्नलिस्ट हैं एसोसिएटेड विद प्रीमियर लीग क्लब्स मतलब फाइन यू वोंट गेट द न्यूज़ लाइक यू वोंट गेट देम आई मीन यू वोंट गेट अ ब्रेकिंग न्यूज़ काइंड ऑफ अ सिनेरियो कि सबसे पहले आपको पता चलेगा लेकिन द न्यूज़ यू विल गेट विल बी प्रीटी डिसेंट एंड ऑथेंटिक
True. And of
और
course,
स्टिक
like
टू फीचर रिपोर्ट.
this news, आप देख ही रहे हो last 24-48 hours में जो है, I think I have literally quoted Nizar Kinsella, Matt Law of the likes, and of course, you have certain German journalists जो German Bundesliga के लिए काफी अच्छा करते हैं. I think again there is a debate Bild. I'm not too sure, लेकिन again, there is something that I actually follow their tweets. और
बट
yeah,
अगेन
my
दिस
sources
इज
are below. Mhm.
रशियन राइट.
Who are you talking about? The
ये जो
Google
मेंशन
founder?
हुआ है कमेंट में. हाँ द गूगल
So
फाउंडर.
yeah. So that's what it says. That basically, honestly, मैं नहीं देखता रशियन वापस होगा. Like that's just my personal opinion.
डजंट
Again,
सीम लाइक इट.
हाँ, मतलब बिकॉज मैं इस पर आ रहा था क्योंकि सादिक भाई एक बहुत बड़ा रीजन हो सकता है चेल्सी टू कंसिडर इवन स्टार्ट कंसिडरिंग इट was the brand value. जैसे आपने बोला, at the end of the day, yes, there is a business, but at the same time, there is an affection for the club. So Roman and team would not want at the same time, आपको कम value भी मिले. You will like Chelsea to go, up in brand value. Also, जो buyer है, you can probably sell them better at this point rather than जो नीचे जा रहा है. I think you as Manchester United fan, you will know very well, Sadiq bhai. Chelsea, Manchester United, we have a lot of haters. Let's get real in world. और with these things coming to picture, हमें काफी DMs आने शुरू हो गए already, which is not great. We are responsible for whatever happens. First of all, कुछ prove भी नहीं हुआ अभी तक. लेकिन again, जो अच्छा चीज है वो सब भूल जाते हैं अभी in these scenarios. It comes down to the brand value also, right? Because it is a business after all, or Chelsea is a brand in itself. Like, after maybe Real Madrid, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, and maybe Liverpool, मैं बोलूँगा Chelsea is right up there in the top five in the world right now आज के दिन में. So I think that is one of the reasons, and I think academy की बात कर लेते क्योंकि there was a question around the academy players as well. आपने बोला तो considering जो हो रहा है, like just hypothetically imagine कि चलो हो जाता है take over, we actually sell it. Initial year में, you think academy has a huge role, the loan army that is there, should Chelsea rely on such kind of players and just kind of take it slow? अगर होता है, I know it's a long time from now, लेकिन that we are in a better situation than other clubs.
देखो it depends on the fact again किस तरीके के ओनर्स आते हैं. If the new owners are not willing to give you any funds in the summer, they're saying by in this summer we'll just try to clear off our books. So that could then come back to haunt you in two different ways. One is if they try to sell off the stars, then you have your academy products or your loanees who are coming back who can sort of fill some of their shoes. But then they can also do another thing, like say a player like Conor Gallagher. He's already at Crystal Palace and he's doing pretty good. And if Palace offers you a decent amount, which obviously may not be to the evaluation that you're evaluating him at right now, but maybe those owners might feel कि भाई say, let's take a hypothetical amount that Chelsea is probably evaluating him to be sold at, say, a 50 million amount, and Palace offers you, say, 35 million. And if the owners are here just to clear the debt and then to set the club off to someone else, then they will take that 35 million and just start debt servicing with that amount as well. तो
Yeah,
वो
I
वाला
think
चीज हो सकता है. और ये हो
correct.
सकता है कि they can then go out, because the good thing with Chelsea is most of your stars are either in their prime or they are even before their prime, so they are young players.
Exactly.
So they could probably sell off a Christian Pulisic. They could probably sell off, say, someone like a Timo Werner.
अभी भी assets है, मतलब there are assets to जो आप
Assets हैं,
use
so they
कर
could
सकते
sell
हैं.
off those assets, and as a way to compensate for those assets, you can get players like, say, Armando Broja coming back from loan, taking up
हाँ,
one of
ये
those spots.
यहाँ पर देखिए, ये लिवरमेंटो का भी एक बाई बैक है, बट लेकिन यूनाइटेड के साथ लिंक हो रहा है, तो
नहीं, लिवरामेंटो तो पहले से लिंक हो रहा है, मतलब यूनाइटेड इज वेरी मच इंटरेस्टेड इन बोथ, मतलब ये लिंक्स तो आ रहे हैं. लिवरामेंटो का भी आ रहा था और तारिक लैम्प्टी का भी आ रहा था earlier in the year. So this is prior to all what has happened. So these two links have been there from some time now, but I'm pretty sure United is not going to go for that.
Correct.
Knowing United, I know they're not going to go for that.
Absolutely. I don't think they probably go for it, but लेकिन जेमी कैरेगर का लेटेस्ट ओपिनियन देखा. I'm not sure which opinion you're talking about. I did see one yesterday. आज का कुछ है तो बताइए क्या है. We would love
If
to know.
Carragher is commenting on a Premier League title, then I'll just stick to what Rio Ferdinand told him.
Good one. By the way, यार Ratcliffe की बात हम कर चुके हैं already. But yeah, as in, yes, he's basically, if I'm not wrong, he has a Monaco-based business, but he's an Englishman. So that kind of helps, because someone who kind of understands the history, etc., being there helps, and someone who actually follows club, वो तो certainly help करेगा. लेकिन no one like Roman. Let's get it right. I don't think ऐसा owner है भी in today's day and age. जो इतना
But you need
billionaire
a crazy person. Like, either you need someone like the City and the PSGs and the Newcastles, where they are, for them, they just need to win in the sport more than what they'll make out of it. You should have that mindset. Or you should have an owner, like, as he said, like, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in and he is a Chelsea fan, then obviously he can. No, you can own multiple clubs, not in the same league, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Again,
otherwise
एक
the
और
City
चीज हो
football
सकता है
club
ना.
would not be able to hold all those.
Exactly, but there is one more thing, Sadiq bhai. Like, I think Roman ने भी किया था ना, in a way. So it's not him directly owning the club. If he owns a certain company who owns a certain shares of the club, that is, I think, possible. So there are loopholes. Certainly, there are
वही ना,
loopholes.
जैसे Red Bull है. जैसे Red Bull है. Red Bull owns so many European clubs itself.
Okay. यार ये सुपर चैट भेज नहीं पा रहे हो, पता नहीं, नॉट श्योर व्हाई. एज एन अगेन पीपल, आप बोलिए अगर नहीं भेज पा रहे हो, बट होपफुली थिंग्स गेट सॉर्टेड आउट. आई जस्ट चेक इट अप विद द बैक एंड क्विकली. Well, according to UEFA, same owner cannot own two clubs in Europe, but like we said, it cannot be directly. Like, there are indirect kind of ways to own it, from what I know. But having said that, let's actually talk a little bit of transfers before we get to the weekend derby talk. So. Rudiger to United, like we said, the turmoil जो हो रहा है, players wanting to leave हो भी सकता है एक scenario. So Rudiger wanting to leave, I don't know, I don't see it. लेकिन where are you placed on this? Rudiger to United, what are the chances now?
Well, I'm not hearing. I mean, this rumor has been doing the rounds for the last few months, but nothing from very solid sources as such. So I'm not giving much weight to it at the moment until I hear it from, like, some really good sources that are out there, like, say, a Samuel Lacoste. If he comes up with that, he's very much into the United insiders. Plus, the people at the Stretford paddock, they have also not spoken anything about it. They are the first ones to come out with any rumors, and till date they have not come up with any of those rumors. So I don't think there's much into it at the moment.
Okay. लेकिन एक चीज है, बार्सिलोना का थोड़ा बात कर लेते हैं सादिक भाई, बिकॉज आई नो सादिक भाई इन द हाउस, वी हैव टू स्पीक लिटिल बिट ऑफ बार्सिलोना आल्सो. एस्पिलिक्वेटा हमने बात की है ऑलरेडी ब्रीफली, क्रिस्टियनसन बात कर लिए, लेकिन एस्पिलिक्वेटा के साथ साथ में आई थिंक माजरावी, आई थिंक ही इज लिंक्ड स्ट्रांगली एज वेल. तो एज अ बार्सा फैन आप क्या देखते हो, माजरावी और एस्पिलिक्वेटा?
Why not both? Because both are free.
Come on, that's the easy option. I'm not giving you that option, huh?
नहीं, अगर आप बात करते हो दोनों में से कौन, तो if you are getting Christensen, then I would rather go for a Mazraoui because we need a right back more. क्या कहते हैं? It's a more pressing need as compared to what we have. I mean, if you get Christensen, then Aspie, I was thinking he's more of a that defensive fullback kind of a role who could go up occasionally, like the role that Danny Alves is playing these days. Similar to that kind of a role I was envisioning Aspie in. But if we get Christensen, then we are solidifying the center, so then we can probably get in a right back. So a Mazraoui would be a little bit better option. But then again, Aspie brings a whole lot more intangibles to the team, that veteran leadership, because we have a very young squad. So Aspie will bring in a lot of veteran leadership. So, well, I think I will go for Aspilicueta because he brings in a whole lot more than just that position.
I was hoping नहीं, क्योंकि यार मैं तो रखना चाहूंगा, especially after this turmoil. I need my leaders. लेकिन again, that's just me. I think the market will call itself, right? And Aspi, I think he deserves, उसका choice होना चाहिए.
If one player who stays despite all the turmoil might be Aspilicueta because
Might be Aspi, exactly.
Because he know the only thing is if Aspilicueta leaves, then that means there is some serious SHIT going on behind the.
Imagine, Chelsea fans in the house. I know I'm talking about the worst case scenario. Aspilicueta, Rudiger, Jorginho, and Alonso. 4 people.
And Christensen.
Christensen I have not put in that category because he's not really a leader. He's
You
there
will
in
be
the
short
system
of
for
a
long.
defender. I mean, you will have to get someone for him as well.
Correct. And वो है भी, I think people forget he's actually there from Jose Mourinho's second time, 2013-14 से he's there in Chelsea, in and around. So he's one of them who
something about
understands.
him today. I think he's been on Chelsea's book since he was a 15-year-old, I think.
Yeah. So he was actually he was signed from Brøndby, if I'm not wrong. It was around 16 and
वो
a half.
आपके
And he
youth
was
system से निकल के फिर घूमता फिरता वापस आया Chelsea.
Exactly. By the way, Rudiger to Real Madrid, ये मेरे ख्याल से recent weeks में काफी ठंडा पड़ गया है from what I know, because of I think Real Madrid के defense. I think as much as वो score नहीं करे defense, they have got a partnership going. तो मुझे शायद ही लगता है कि they will break that partnership because Rudiger is a starter in any team. I don't think he's going to not start, and मुझे नहीं लगता Ancelotti will change this.
If Rudiger goes anywhere, the one place where I think he could go, especially, is a free transfer. But then again, Bayern has their own wage rules, so I don't know whether he will go to Bayern again. But then again, he's a German, so the German pull might cause him to reduce the amount a little bit what he's asking for, because they already have Nicolas Sule who plays the left centre back going out.
Good point. Certainly. यहाँ पर, by the way, thanks a lot, यार. Sports Talk in Mahim again. Shout out to you. यहाँ पर Angelino to Barca news. Wow, ये interesting है. ये तो नया दिखा मुझे.
मैंने भी नहीं सुना अभी तक.
Not a bad option. Maybe City have probably wants to see maybe City अब आप शायद Barca fan होंगे. I know soft corner, but Angelino to Barca is not a bad option. मैं actually देखता हूँ कि he can be a decent fit in Barca system. Having said that, लेकिन interesting रहेगा.
Any player who plays in the City system definitely can fit into the Barca system because they're very similar.
Correct. City owner have 2 clubs, City and 2. Okay, interesting. वही है, मतलब directly नहीं होगा. They would have registered under different company, etc. That could have been happened. And like politics में होता है यार. We know it actually happens. Especially people in India, Pakistan would relate to it very well. जो होता है. But again, Xavi ball looking tasty. Barca is back. Yes, Sadiq bhai काफी खुश लग रहे हैं. And again, actually let's come back to Manchester United, right? Again, people do like the stream. It certainly helps. लेकिन हाँ, मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड की बात करते हैं एंड कहाँ से शुरू करें इन टर्म्स ऑफ बेसिकली. चलो मैन सिटी की बात कर लेते हैं बिकॉज मैन सिटी आई थिंक कप में 2-0 जीती थी पीटरबरो के साथ कल रात को. बट इट वाज सेकंड गियर मैन सिटी ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग. इफ दे आर एबल टू बीट,
were there to just get the job done, so to speak.
करेक्ट. और क्या 2-0 हुआ था नवंबर में अगेंस्ट मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड. शुड हैव बीन मच मोर. If we are really being
that 2-0 felt like a 12-0.
Exactly. So what first of all injuries है कुछ Manchester United में, and what kind of 11 strategy would you like to go for? Defensive?
I think Edinson Cavani is like the ever injured person that we have. Baki, as such, there isn't much. I think Harry Maguire was just rested or quote unquote dropped in the last game
Okay.
against Watford. But other than that, there isn't anything else. So, see, knowing City and the way they play, although Paul Pogba and Fred, there is no comparison in terms of the talent that the two bring to the table. But as we don't have a mid-week game, also, I would definitely start because the most important area for United has been the midfield. So sorting that out first is very important. And the system that we are playing is a pretty 4-3-3-ish kind of a system. Whether you play it in a 4-2-3-1 or you play it in a traditional 4-3-3, it works in a 4-3-3 kind of a system. So in the middle three, I will definitely go for Nemanja Matic because last match he showed that what composure he brings, and in a
Mm-hmm.
team against a team like City, we definitely need that composure and that press resistance and that ability to play the ball from deep, because we know that City will obviously come up top and United will have to sit back a little bit, because if we try playing a high line against them with our defenders where we don't have the track back pace, especially if you play Harry Maguire. I mean, he maintains a high line, but the problem with him is his game demands him maintaining a high line, but his physical abilities do not allow him to maintain a high line, if you understand what I mean. He
Yeah,
doesn't have the
exactly.
track back pace. उसका गेम है बॉल कैरिंग वाला, बॉल प्लेइंग वाला, जो कि is ideal for a high line maintaining center back, but then his physical traits, once we are on defense, do not allow him to maintain a high line. So Matic definitely up there. The other midfielder I would play will be obviously Bruno,
Mm-hmm.
sort of in a more higher role.
Right.
And I think Scott McTominay still is at a knock. I think he's coming back for the game, but I am not sure whether he's 100% fit or not. So I don't know if people will agree with me or not. But I would rather go with, say, Fred, because Fred gives you that off the ball. Because we won't have the ball much. We need to understand that. Against City,
Interesting.
we won't have the ball much. So we need someone with a lot of off the ball work rate, who keeps jumping into those passing lanes, keep jumping into the plays of. I mean, when Fred is on song, especially with a CDM next to him like Matic, Fred can be a nuisance to the opposition. Again, but with Fred, the problem is the inconsistency. If he's off song, he can be a nuisance to his own team. But I would be
Okay,
willing
I
to
get
take
your
that
point.
risk.
He has been
But I would
actually very
take
good.
that
He has
risk
been very good
because,
under Ragnick. मेरे ख्याल से कुछ complaints नहीं होने चाहिए United fans को when it comes to
yeah,
Fred.
because the only issue he has when you play a Fred with a Paul Pogba, because then you don't have a proper holding midfielder there. And even with
True,
Scott
true.
McTominay doesn't bring all the ball playing skills that an Nemanja Matic brings to the floor. So this would be my midfield. In defense, again, I mean, Harry Maguire is the captain, but he tends to be a liability in such big games. So I'll go with a centre back pairing of Varane and Lindelof,
Okay, interesting. So
similar to what we
Lindelof
did
and
last game.
I don't know where is Maguire going. I think a comment था about Maguire's market value. We spoke about market values and brand values, etc. By the way,
Really,
shout out to Leicester
Varane.
till I die.
Ankit by Varane, not Maguire.
Oh yeah, you know what? वो मेरी दिल की बात निकल गई. Maybe I'm wanting, exactly. But yeah, I think Varane needs to play definitely. And but Maguire ka, like I don't know, where is his future? He's not going to be a substitute for long.
Well, the problem is his future is, we are both stuck with each other, so to speak. United stuck with Maguire and Maguire is stuck with United. Because if Maguire was in a team where he had a fast, where they maintained a high line with a
Mm-hmm.
pacey centre back partner to him, like, okay, Rafael Varane has the pace, but then sometimes even you need to have that ability. So Maguire would be amazing in a three at the back system.
एग्जैक्टली मैं वही बोलते आ रहा हूँ क्योंकि डिपेंड्स मे बी ऑन द न्यू मैनेजर तो देयर इज सर्टेनली एक सिल्वर लाइनिंग कहीं पर दैट्स व्हाई मे बी दैट्स
मतलब
द ओनली होप
अगर आप Maguire को, because obviously City, when they went for Ruben Diaz, they were also thinking of Maguire, and then United went in for Maguire, and then City sort of played us and got Ruben Diaz the next
yep
window. But if you say put the way City plays its system, it technically in transition becomes a back three with Kyle Walker staying back. So
yep
So if Maguire was in City in place of say an Emerick Laporte or a John Stones next to a Ruben Diaz and Kyle Walker, people would be raving about Harry Maguire right now, because his
Good
traits would
point.
be, because you would have the proper defensive midfielder up front, and you would have two extremely athletic and fast centre back partners next to him.
True, true.
So then he
यहाँ
could
पर
be a
like,
very good.
what do you think about this thing? Like, because I think you said, right, Fred and Matic kind of pair up better compared, as in defensively at least. So I think that should be the shield, and then go for it with Bruno's passes.
No, the thing with Pogba is, he is not off the ball work rate. He's not a work rate player. And if you see the game that Spurs played against City, we all talk
Mm-hmm.
about Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, and Kulusevski, but we forget the work that Højbjerg and who's that other
Skip.
midfielder, Bentancur, did in the second half.
Bentancur, sorry, yes, yes.
They
Good point.
they allowed City to come into the half, but once they came into the half, they didn't allow City to settle in the half. They
Mm-hmm.
just constantly kept on pressing and pressuring the midfield of City. Whoever had the ball amongst the midfielders, you had one of them jumping on them constantly. So you
Yeah,
need that
yeah.
kind of off the ball work rate. I know Paul Pogba can unlock those. If we could somehow have, say, a player of Matic or Fred having the same ball playing skills that a Paul Pogba could, that would be the best option, because a lot of times Højbjerg won the ball, gave that critical pass to Harry Kane, and then Harry Kane opened up the defense. So if you could have someone to get the ball and play the ball to, say, a Bruno Fernandes, then Bruno can then play that crucial ball up front.
बहुत बहुत कमेंट्स देखकर मुझे तो हंसी आ रही है, बट अगेन आई एम जस्ट अ न्यूट्रल गाइस, नो पन इंटेंडेड. आई लव फुटबॉल, आई डिस्क्लेमर वहां दे रहा हूं. आई डोंट गो बाय व्हाट आई एम लाफिंग, बट अगेन पीपल जॉइनिंग. आई होप एवरीवन इज लाइक टेकिंग द पोल. हम आएंगे उस पर. राइट बैक.
Right back, I will go. See, Van Bissaka has given a good account of himself in the last two games, although I'm not a big fan of Aaron Van Bissaka. But then in this game, where you will be pegged down a whole lot more, Diego Dallo will be a liability. So I would rather
Oh,
go
is
for
it?
Aaron Van Bissaka.
Interesting.
Although Dallo
एक
can
और.
play those diagonal balls, but then his ball playing in the last few games has not been as good, and Van Bissaka has been decent in terms of his positioning and his control. And on left back, obviously, I'll go with Alex Telles.
Yeah, I
Alex
think
Telles.
वो तो I think as in every United fan is kind of united with the others in that. I really don't know.
No, because Luke
मतलब
Shaw,
obviously there was an injury.
see, City has the classic. They are the quintessential positional play team. If you add a player who's as bad in his positioning as Luke Shaw, they will open you up time and again from the left flank. And on the left flank, you will have who you will have? City keeps on transitioning. So you will have Kevin De Bruyne attack from there. You will have Gundogan attack from there. You'll have Bernardo Silva shift onto the left flank. So they will turn him around constantly. Alex Telles, yes, he's not a defensive wonder kid or so, but he knows where to be. One-on-one defending, you can, one-on-one you can abuse him defensively, but at least when you play in that positional sense, he doesn't lose his position much.
लेकिन chances कौन create करेगा? I think Telles probably is your outlet. He's the main
Telles
outlet if
could
I'm
be an
not wrong.
outlet. One surprising outlet for the last few games that has been Victor Lindelof.
Yeah,
He's
actually,
shown a
that one run made him as in Ragnick think about him playing as a right back. Lekin he tucked in as the third
yes.
centre back.
No.
Jokes aside, yeah, you're right.
That game, our entire team was confused whether we are playing 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 3.5 at the back. So we had no clue what was going on. And another player who can play the ball, especially if you saw the last game, I don't know how much time he will get against a team of the quality of City, but Nemanja Matic can play those passes. Last game against Watford, he was threading the needle with some of them. 4 or 5 of his passes were exquisite.
And he turns up against City. That is a thing. This is actually a thing. He turns up against City. Forward line, I think, picks itself, right? I'll probably go for Elanga.
Elanga on the right, Sancho on the left, and Ronaldo in the middle. And obviously, Elanga and Sancho will keep switching the flanks depending on this situation.
Right. अभी है ना क्विकली मुझे, क्योंकि देयर आर सर्टेन प्लेयर्स इन दिस 11 itself जो आपने पिक किया है सादिक भाई, एंड दिस itself by the way people, this is your team,
And the
and
goalkeeper obviously will be
yeah,
David De Gea.
I think वो तो without a shadow of a doubt. In terms of contracts, अभी इसी टीम में देखा जाए तो I'll actually take a look and I'll try to share the screen as well, people. By the way, Manchester United fans, do you agree with this 11? Comment करिए आपका 11 comment करिए, and yes, I think there was a comment about the combined 11. Yes, feel free to. अगर आपको लगता है कि many Manchester United players get in, why not? Let's actually have that comment and I'll highlight that for sure. लेकिन कमिंग टू द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सिचुएशन, बिकॉज इन दिस टीम इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, मैं देख रहा हूँ 2022 में Paul Pogba, certainly not one that Sadiq has picked in this big game. Cavani was injured. Jesse Lingard, they are out of contract. And 2023 में you are having like loads of people. I think ये तो share करना ही बनता है. I don't know. There are a lot of talks about Lewandowski. Aussie men आज suddenly linked. I know it's Manchester United रोज कुछ ना कुछ links होंगे ही. लेकिन do you see that these contract situations are reasons? Where do you see these contracts going to?
Well, see, the contract situation is such that obviously Marcus Rashford is looking for a new contract, and the club is also willing to give him one. That is one that the first two names. Definitely, I don't want to give a contract extension to Luke Shaw. I mean, honestly speaking, in the last he's been at the club for now 7 years, close to 7 years.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think in 7 years he has had 9 good months. The first 3 months before he got injured when he came in new, and the last half season. Other than that, he's been pretty average at best.
Okay. Interesting.
So I don't think he should be signed. But again, knowing it's United, knowing Luke Shaw, he's an English international, I'm pretty sure Marcus Rashford and Luke Shaw are getting contract extensions, unfortunately. I mean, okay. I mean, Marcus. See, Rashford. I mean, if Rashford was the Rashford of last season, he would be the first name on my team sheet. No doubt about it. But this season, I don't know where he is mentally, where his mind is. I mean, he's just off. I mean, there have been moments in the game. I mean, I don't know if people will agree with me on that or not. He's gone for the ball. He's missed the ball. The ball's gone behind him, and he still continued straight up.
That is what actually, unfortunately, has become. And I actually agree to that.
He's playing in his own universe. I mean, something is wrong. He just needs to be, he needs to be benched and brought on as a sub. Even as a sub now, he's not performing. Before, he was being brought on as a sub, and for a couple of games, he was scoring or he was assisting as a sub. Or he was at least performing better, and we were like, okay, fine. Start Elanga on one side, Sancho on the other, and bring him back. And just bring Rashford on as a super sub. After the 60th minute, when the opposition is tired, you can use his pace to hit them on the counters or hit them off quick passes in between. But no.
ये क्वेश्चन ले लेते क्विकली. आई नो आउट ऑफ टॉपिक अगेन. राजेश, थैंक्स फॉर योर क्वेश्चन. आप बोल रहे हो और हमने डिस्कस किया था आई थिंक इन अ कपल ऑफ स्ट्रीम्स कल भी, इंक्लूडिंग आज. बाय द वे यार, अगेन बेल नोटिफिकेशन आइकॉन मत भूलिए, क्योंकि यू विल बी पार्ट ऑफ एवरी स्ट्रीम और आपको एक्चुअली मिलेगा व्हाट ऑल कंटेंट वी आर काइंड ऑफ डिस्कसिंग ना. देखो, बार्सिलोना, ला लीगा, बुंडेसलीगा, दैट्स अ वेरी डिफरेंट वे ऑफ थिंग्स. प्रीमियर लीग में from what I know, there's a huge kind of money aspect to it. आपके sponsorship deals, your TV rights and whatnot. So certainly I think administration expertise चाहिए, and more so than maybe La Liga or Bundesliga. Plus La Liga में, if I'm not wrong, Barcelona का there is an election out of the presidential elections, etc. Chelsea will never have it that way, trust me. It'll be run by an owner or a consortium at worst. I know, Sadiq bhai, if you have any.
And in the British game, when the way it is held in the UK for a long time is, if you go back in the history, it was either rich aristocrats who used to make their own club and play, or it used to be the mill owners and other people who used to have the common man and their employees used to play as footballers. Right. Now, in that tradition, what has happened is there is a constant tradition of an owner being there who runs something within the community. So now when in the new era, what happens is that when the owner comes in. Like for example, say when the ManCity owners came into the city of Manchester, and if you see it on the map, City is located on the east side of Manchester, and United is on the western side, on the Salford side.
True.
So what happened was the Salford side was the growing one because that was a media hub and the media capital and everything was there. Old Trafford, even the Lancashire Cricket Stadium, which is also called Old Trafford, was right next to the footballing Old Trafford. So that was the hub. The other side, once when I visited Manchester, I was going in with a cab driver and he told me that, sir, you have come in at the right time because 4 years back, had you come in here, this was a no-go area.
Okay.
Like after a while, you could not go. It was that bad. But then when they came in, the city owners, they invested in that area, they grew that area up, and now that is called the city center, not the Old Trafford side of it. So it's changed
Oh,
that
that's
much.
interesting.
Similarly, I mean, if you will talk to someone in the Chelsea area, Roman Abramovich is invested in that area also of West London. Although it's already a posh area, but investment has been done. Similarly, when the in the other London clubs, whenever the stadiums and things are built, it's not just the stadia that is built; it's a whole infrastructure with that stadium that is built. So
Okay.
the concept of a single owner or like or like a wealthy consortium owning a club is more encouraged in the English game because it allows a lot of responsibility to pass on to those owners for building the local infrastructure rather than the local government. So it just sort of helps them out as well a little bit. So this socio way of owning clubs is not encouraged much in I mean, it doesn't exist in England, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I would relate totally to it. Like and again, people watching, yeah, again, if you've not kind of like the stream, please do so and subscribe. Kariye. You will be able to comment, interact, and certainly we'll try and highlight every comment as much as possible. Ronaldo, I know we saw the contracts, और हमने बात की Lewandowski and I know Osimhen, those are kind of rumors. लेकिन Ronaldo एक और साल है, he has to be in United, मतलब considering the situation, नहीं?
Can't say anything because see, a player
Can't
of
say.
Ronaldo's caliber in say maybe his last or second last season for all practical purposes, would he or would even the fans want to see him out of the UCL? I mean,
Big question
it's the
that's
yeah, exactly. So, and again, it would be a I mean, Sporting is right now in the UCL spots in the Portuguese league, if I'm not mistaken.
हाँ तो स्पोर्टिंग is certainly there लेकिन वही है ना कि स्पोर्टिंग with Ronaldo will they go deep in the tournament वो that's another question that he has to answer because that is the
I
last
don't think
option that he has.
I don't think right now. See, I've been very vocal about it in my comments on all the videos, but never got a chance to speak about it. Is that Ronaldo? We have to, all of us as football fans and all of us as Ronaldo fans, have to agree to the fact that what we are seeing is a goat growing old in front of our eyes. It's not that he doesn't has it. It's not that he's not out of form right now. Yes, he is woefully out of form right now. But there are certain those moments where we say, I think people will remember last game or the game prior to that, he had a tap in and he hit it directly at the goalkeeper. If you
मतलब
notice what
वॉटफोर्ड के
happened
गेम
was,
या
वॉटफोर्ड के गेम में भी हुआ था, उससे पिछले भी एक दो गेम पहले ऐसा
मिडलस्ब्रा
कुछ सिमिलर हुआ.
यस
So he
यस
missed that goal, and if you notice it, he's just a second late in arriving to the ball. The age factor has just made him a second slower as compared to his entire, not just his pace, his reflexes, his understanding is just a tad slower. I mean, maybe he's understanding the game faster, but the body is not reacting that fast. So he's just that little bit slower, but that little bit slower does not make him a completely terrible or a bad player by any means. When he drops levels, he still comes up to an above average to a good player. So good player, he's performing his role. He's going to give you those 15 to 20 goals a season. But what he's not going to give you is what we fans expect, those 40, 50 goals consistently.
So I have a question for you, Sadiq bhai. I think in the last 24 hours, I think build-up के कारण हुआ है, I don't know whatever. Fiorentina, I think, are playing Juventus tonight in second semi-final of the Coppa Italia.
Hmm.
Uh, of course, Vlahovic derby है in a sense. Juventus fans काफी लोग डायरेक्टली अभी से ही, I know वो होता है हर क्लब में, अभी से ही देख रहे हैं कि Vlahovic are showing that early signs of Ronaldo at Juventus. Not, I would not say Ronaldo at Real Madrid, but early signs of Ronaldo at Juventus in the way he's going for goals, in the way he's thinking. Like first of all, can they even be compared? When
No, no,
Ronaldo
no.
turned into a striker.
I mean, Vlahovic at 21, 22 years old, he's an out and out striker. He will develop into a more potent poacher. Ronaldo at 21, 22 was a freak of a right winger.
Yeah,
And then he shifted to the left wing later on. So, totally different, totally different. And Ronaldo's way of being, he was more of a mobile striker. Vlahovic is mobile, no doubt, but he's that center of the field. Ronaldo was more of a cut and wide inside striker, and he had a player like Benzema who used to shift out. The role that
fair enough.
Benzema played to incorporate Ronaldo and Bale into that BBC offensive lineup was very underrated. He was a classic false nine. He used to drop back and let those two wingers come in and score the goals. So totally different players.
Absolutely. Or again, shout out to Michael Talks Football to join us, buddy. Yes, we did discuss Chelsea and the takeover in detail. And if time permits, we'll come back to the questions that have been asked उस पर और generally भी. लेकिन quick prediction ले लेते हैं. Everyone in the chat predict. I know it's very difficult, especially आप अगर Manchester United fan हो. लेकिन I think probably in a strange way, like मैंने discuss भी किया था दूसरे stream में, Manchester United might be helping themselves and Liverpool. Put it that way. But
Well,
it is what it is.
for 2 out of our next 3 Premier League games, one day we will have the whole of Anfield supporting us, and the next game we will, and if we manage to get a result out of that game, the next game the whole of City fandom will be supporting United when we play Liverpool. So that would be the strange part out of it. But when it comes to prediction, honestly, seeing, I'm a United fan through and through, over 2 decades now.
Yes,
But
yes, of
I
course.
have to put my fandom aside, and seeing the gulf between the two teams at the moment, even a draw would be a even a draw would be a win here.
Okay, okay.
I think
Fair
that's
enough. I think I
my
will take
prediction.
that. मैं तो मतलब I really don't know who to support. Like I know I have to put my neutral hat on. लेकिन again, my footballing knowledge again same thing, right? Like Sadiq bhai, been there done that. I seriously cannot see United kind of stopping City. लेकिन there have been times in City United turn up हो जाती है City के साथ.
We
Nemanja
have
Matic
done
का
the
pick
double
बहुत
over them.
interesting था.
I think last season
Exactly.
itself we did the double over them,
Yeah,
if
you
I'm not
did,
mistaken.
you did it. So that's what I'm saying. So that is the only hope है, just to make it a little bit more interesting. As much as Liverpool जीती थी weekend में हमारे साथ, मैं चाहूंगा नहीं वो लीग जीते, but again nothing against Liverpool fans. It is just right now. कल को मैं कुछ और बोलूंगा. लेकिन I can
I
see
think
a draw.
Chelsea fans should be hoping that we defeat both of them.
See, I actually would want that if you really ask me logically, but again, things are different. By the way, City lineup, I think यार मैंने highlight किया था, and I actually gave the thumbs up. I think that is the City lineup. I think with Pep Guardiola and Thomas Tuchel, if anyone gets the lineup perfect ना, मैं आपको पैसे दूंगा. Put it that way. Well, that is a very difficult situation. It's a betting kind of a game in itself. So it's really tough. So
I think the
of course
only
आप
two
lineup डालिए.
players
Mhm.
I think the only three players at present that I can predict, given that they are healthy, is Joao Cancelo, KDB, and Bernardo
Rodri.
Silva. And yes, Ederson, if Ederson is fit. These are the only four
Okay.
players that I can predict. If they are fit, they will play in the City lineup.
Interesting, interesting. By the way, Matt Law just posted a news. Let's see what's the news. Again, आप news ही post कर सकते थे यहाँ पर. But anyway, thanks a lot. Let me just check it. But again, people, बहुत लोग join किए हैं. I hope your questions will be answered. We do have another 15 minutes to go in the stream. So yes, Matt Law. Okay. So I think he just. I'm not sure if it's a story on the two billionaires teaming up to try to buy Chelsea after the club was put up for sale with some past quote from Todd Bowley on why he wants a Premier League club. I think yeah, एक comment भी आया था. It's about I think probably it's about the Swiss billionaire that we're speaking about, right? Hans-Jörg Weiss
No,
and
no,
Todd Bowley.
Todd Bowley is a different consortium. I told you, he is the Los Angeles
दोनों साथ
Lakers.
में मिल रहे हैं. दोनों साथ में मिल रहे हैं.
अच्छा, दोनों मिल
Weiss
रहे हैं
and
साथ में.
Bowley. हम्म.
अच्छा अच्छा
तो
अच्छा
वो
अच्छा.
लग रहा
हाँ
है.
नहीं, then probably they are joining together to put up a bid or something.
Well, that's interesting. Manchester at 4, City 2, and of course, shout out to
I will be
David Talks Football
dancing.
as well. Well, ज़्यादातर City के लिए जा रही है. Logically, that's right. But again, it's a derby match. Yeah, I think everything goes out of the window. I won't mind. I know a very fiercely struck match here. But United have done well at the Etihad in the past couple of years.
Yes.
Why Michael Talks Football really,
See,
has hit the
Ankit
nail on the
bhai,
head.
given the way we are playing since Ralph took over, yes, our game style is much better than what it was when we last played them. That was under Ole. So it's totally a different team that is playing right now. So we may spring a surprise onto City as well. But again, how poor we have been in front of goal, and the one game we have had against a good team, a relatively good team, that is say Atletico Madrid, and the way our performance was in that game. But then we can again say that we went with a completely new system in that game. तो वहाँ पे वो issue हो सकता है कि probably that system was new, and had we played our own system, we might have played much better against Atletico. So let's see. I mean, given that we are creating so many chances, but then again, we have been having a lot of the ball as well. Now, how much of the ball we'll have against a team like City, that's a totally different conversation to be had.
Absolutely यार, बहुत लोग सिटी लाइनअप के लिए पूछ रहे हैं, तो कर ही लेते. ये सिटी लाइनअप थी लास्ट नाइट को. सिटी फैंस इन द हाउस, डू लेट अस नो आप क्या चेंजेस करना चाहोगे. लाइक आई थिंक सादिक भाई ने कहा, आई थिंक फर्नांडिनियो मे बी विद रॉड्री, दैट इज
I
जिंचेंको
think
विद
Rodri will come
कैंसेलो.
in place. I think probably Jack Grealish will go out and Bernardo Silva will come in.
Yeah, fair
I think
point.
possibly we could see this one, what's his name? Nathan Ake go out, and one of John Stones or Emerick Laporte to come in. And I think probably in place of Alexander Zinchenko, we could see Joao Cancelo switch flanks and have Kyle Walker coming in
Yeah, absolutely.
on
I
the
think
right
that makes
side.
perfect sense. City fans do comment अगर आप agree करते हो. मेरे ख्याल से that's perfect. Like that's what he would go with. But again, like जैसे बोला, it's basically anyone's guess. Like a big shout out firstly to Michael Talks Football. Hey brother, thanks a lot. Means a lot, of course. And of course, people Michael Talks Football, do check him out. I always say one of my favorite opposition Liverpool fans in the house. Who knows his stuff, not just Liverpool, but end to end. And same goes for This Is Football. The Hussam bro, big up to you as well. Hopefully we'll have both the Liverpool fans in the house. I was thinking this week, लेकिन जो हुआ weekend के बाद में, मैं थोड़ा सा let me actually breathe, come back to basically the Liverpool fans, and I would love to have Hussam back in the house as well as Michael Talks Football. You know it, what I mean, brother. As in, we'll probably have, I think, even Dugout Football channel. I think though 3 of the favorite international Liverpool fans that I know certainly need to be back. But yes, people. So I hope City lineup makes sense जो हमने डिस्कस किया है. लेकिन यार चेल्सी फैन मुझे मारेंगे यहाँ पर, क्योंकि यार चेल्सी का भी गेम है वीकेंड में. बिफोर दैट आई थिंक सादिक भाई, योर प्रेडिक्शन क्या था? ड्रॉ, 2-2 ड्रॉ?
No, I would look at a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. चलो, we'll take that. And there are other games, people, on the weekend. I think काफी अच्छे games है. Firstly, Burnley से Chelsea का. By the way, Chelsea का आज रात को watch along है, so do join us on Rock Baba 12:30 बजे Indian Standard Time. So we'll be there. We'll probably discuss based on क्या injuries होते नहीं होते, because right now I think we can only speculate. Burnley का ये बुरा हाल है यार. Last night they lost to Leicester. They have been on a run. Finally they lost, and it's a Chelsea thing. Come back to Chelsea against Chelsea. They will turn up. They'll kind of park the bus. I can see a 1-1, and that's my prediction. Burnley versus Chelsea. And of course Chelsea में जो है turmoil. We know what happened. जो I think European Super League हुआ था last year. I know it's incomparable, लेकिन somehow Chelsea players are not really turning up in such situations, especially after that
Ankit
loss.
bhai, just a question.
बोलिए.
With new owners coming in, would Chelsea be now more interested in going for a European Super League?
Honestly, Chelsea was a club. Chelsea fans were the club where जहाँ पर they were catalyst to stop it. तो मुझे शायद ही लगता ब्रांड वैल्यू पर आ जाती है वापस सादिक भाई, क्योंकि ब्रांड वैल्यू समथिंग दैट चेल्सी एज फैंस आई हैव सफर्ड. मुझे मालूम है मैं कितना सफर किया हूं एज अ चेल्सी फैन ओवर द इयर्स. मतलब स्पेशली इंटरनेशनल फैन, आप जानते हो हाउ इट इज राइट. आई मीन यार चेल्सी क्या है यार, कम
Exactly.
ऑन. So that is what it has been, and I'm talking about early 2000s people, जो people relate नहीं कर पा रहे, और recently totally उल्टा हुआ है. तो brand value एक we have to create. One is that. Second thing is it's about just getting that DNA. रोमन अब्रामोविच का एक चीज रह गया मैं बोलना चाहूंगा. Lampard के under he tried to an extent, लेकिन that totally sexy football, that's something that he probably wanted. That was his long term vision in terms of trying to get Guardiola. So I think उसका मेन चीज होगा just to kind of focus on that, whoever the new owners is, to get a brand of football going. I know एक DNA है, resilience है, we are absolutely brilliant in that, लेकिन I think एक way of playing football is something that new owner probably would focus on.
I think आप लोगों का स्टाइल इस सीजन में जब when you had your wing backs with you,
yeah, we were
it
getting
was
there.
amazing. I mean,
Exactly.
it honestly reminded me of how Barca is playing right now. ये जो ओल्ड स्कूल, ये जो क्राइफियन स्टाइल, देखो लोग हमेशा ना क्राइफियन स्टाइल को, इशू ये हो गया है, द लास्ट थिंग व्हेन दे सॉ पेप प्ले द क्राइफियन वर्जन ऑफ फुटबॉल is not even the same football that Pep himself played as a player. अगर आप 93-94 बार्सा के हाइलाइट्स लोग निकालेंगे ना, they will see how direct Pep was. तो
yeah, I think that's a great point, because the defenders kind of join in midfield, right? Yeah, defined roles nahi the. They were kind of floating positions, and the defenders were joining in midfield, things like that. And Pep loves that as well. So
people usually, when they see direct football, they don't associate it with the Cruyffian style, but the Cruyffian style is very direct, the original Cruyffian style.
True. Exactly. By the way, यार अंबानी न्यूज़ आप लेट ज्वाइन किए हो तन्मय, आप रीवॉच करो स्ट्रीम. वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अ लॉट ऑन दिस already, and well, yes Michael, I can certainly relate what you're saying about this, and that's something that we've discussed as well. लेकिन again, not just Chelsea Burnley game, I'm not sure Chelsea fans है घर पे. If anyone is there, Chelsea fans out there, please do comment. Burnley versus Chelsea, what do you think? I know tonight का game, let's go with that. Luton Town versus Chelsea, हमने किया था कवर लास्ट नाइट के स्ट्रीम में, बट इफ यू वांट लेट्स एक्चुअली कमेंट ऑन दैट. आई थिंक वी शुड गेट ओवर लूटन टाउन. मे बी वील फ्रेशन अप द टीम. दैट्स माय गेस, बिकॉज ऑफ व्हाट हैज बीन हैपनिंग, ऑफ कोर्स विद द कप फाइनल लॉस. तो एंड प्लस इंजरीज भी है. चालोबा, बाय द वे सादिक भाई, 6 स्टिचेस, एंड आई नो दैट डजंट डिटरमाइन अ रेड कार्ड, लेकिन pretty bad. लेकिन
आई थिंक पता है हुआ क्या था अंकित भाई, when you see that challenge and we say that he continued with his studs, ठीक है ना. The point was, if you see the position of Naby Keita also, had he not continued with the studs, he would have tweaked his leg and probably taken his knee out himself. Like he used, मतलब क्या था, he didn't I mean obviously उस वक्त तो heat of the moment था and we thought that's probably malicious. He deliberately went onto his leg, but he went onto his leg not to hit him, but rather to support his own fall.
Exactly. मतलब मैं तो I don't know what to say. But talking about that game, it's Liverpool are playing West Ham, Sadiq bhai. West Ham, पता नहीं यार, they're not looking that. I know they have been scoring goals.
Liverpool are looking very dangerous right now.
Yeah, I don't know, but like I know Michael, Hussam, they are in the house. But what do you think?
But I think West Ham will muck it up a little bit for them, but I see them taking it, say 2-1.
Okay. People in the chat, I don't know what you think about Burnley, Chelsea, and Liverpool, West Ham. Let's see if there's anyone. Yes, Luton Town, of course. Yeah, we definitely need not have any fresh injuries, and we need a win for sure. I think among other games which are interesting, probably technically there's a London derby, Watford over Arsenal. Watford probably in a desperate situation. Arsenal haven't done an Arsenal from a few weeks, so I don't know. Maybe
I would love for them to do one.
Again, Arsenal fans, I'm pretty sure you guys will agree as well. वो होता है. And Manchester United, Spurs especially need that. लेकिन we have to talk Spurs. I know Spurs weekend में नहीं खेल रही है, but in that cup game again ousted by Middlesbrough. I think Sadiq bhai will understand the most.
The great Middlesbrough.
Exactly. And Balogun, sorry, did not even play a part, if I'm not wrong. Hardly played a part. So I don't know. Is it Middlesbrough actually being the team from the championship, or is it Spurs and Man United bottling?
I think it's a bit of both. Every season we have one of those Cinderella teams who just comes up and catches the
Mhm.
right big team at the right time. And I think catching a team like Man United on that day, and especially, I mean, VAR and the handballs. वो जो इक्वलाइजर मारा था वो लोग ने, दैट वाज अ क्लासिक केस. वो पूरा बास्केटबॉल खेल के असिस्ट दे दिया उसने दूसरी तरफ. तो इसीलिए I wouldn't even comment on that. It would not even have, and again we were wasteful with our chances. I think same with Spurs, because Middlesbrough, I mean, obviously any championship team against a Premier League team would come with the same game plan, that let's sit back, frustrate them, and then hit them either on a counter in extra time or take the game to penalties.
Okay, interesting. By the way, यार, people watching, मुझे खुद एक stream पे जाना है. I know that the host is waiting. It's actually NS Sports, Nipun, who's a Chelsea fan. Yes, just two Chelsea fans getting together and talking a lot about Chelsea, जो हमने बात की है stream के पहले में भी. So I agree with the Spurs situation. Conte, in one word, will he stay? Will he go to Man United? Any chance?
No, not at all. Not
नहीं
at
नहीं,
all. I don't
not at
think so.
all. Okay, interesting. But yes, a lot of talk around the cups that we had. Of course, हमने Copa Italia का briefly बात किया था. But I think it's about the love for the FA Cups tonight. There's a Chelsea game. Hopefully, we will get a positive kind of energy from there, and let's see what's the news. Yes, there are a few questions. Disappointment हुई है. Quickly, let's say Sadiq bhai, if you have 2 minutes, we'll just take a couple of
Yeah, sure.
questions here. तो आयुष पूछे थे, will NDT join Manchester United?
I hope so, but given our recruitment in the last few years, looks less likely. But yes, if he joins in, nothing like it. Brilliant signing.
Yeah.
It'll be a
Exactly. And
brilliant signing.
Ayush has asked me here, it's about Drogba, Lampard, Kaka. Yes, तीनों ही बहुत बढ़िया थे. If you ask me, my favorite player of all time is Ian Robin. That's the reason why I really fell in love from just being a supporter of a certain club. Or it has to be the person who bleeds blue, who really bleeds blue. Really, he's only John Terry, one and only John Terry, and that's just me. But yeah, everyone, Kaka, awesome. Shevchenko, awesome. Drogba, Lampard, awesome. तो
Like
सादिक भाई आपका
John
favorite player
Terry,
बोल दीजिए.
मेरा favorite player of all time, Ronaldo R9, El Fenomeno.
Yes, you have already said that, and that's something. And हम मुकेश अंबानी के बारे में बात कर चुके हैं ऑलरेडी, लिवरमेंटो के बारे में बात कर चुके हैं. वर्नर आई थिंक जैसे हमने बोला, he is probably most likely to leave Chelsea. Dortmund,
I think so.
yeah, because Haaland is going, which is the best. Werner,
I
Marlin
think
can
he's looking
rotate.
for a move back to Germany, because that's,
Yeah,
he's just trying. But I think, why would he? He's settled in pretty well at Chelsea,
yeah.
and
नहीं
he's got
settle
a
नहीं है.
role
मैं
as
तो
well.
we need someone better. Like as much as he's playing a huge part in what he did, he kind of was instrumental वो Champions League run में. लेकिन we need a finisher, Sadiq bhai. Let's be honest. We were hoping that Lukaku will be still. I'm still having some hope. लेकिन the fact being that we cannot put all eggs in one basket. Havertz is fantastic. We need a consistent goal, a
Why
poacher.
not
Put
try
it that
and
way.
play? I mean, why not try and play? I mean, you're trying to play a duo of Werner and Lukaku. Why not try and play a duo of Werner and
That
Havertz?
वो तो ड्रीम ही रह गया. That has been a dream. I don't know why it has never happened. Maybe injuries, जो लुकाकू को था, ऑफ फील्ड इश्यूज, वो टाइमिंग ऐसी होगी ना. वर्नर वाज आउट, बट अभी ऑल्सो आई एम लिटिल सरप्राइज. इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, वर्नर इज मोस्ट लाइकली, क्योंकि आई थिंक बाय नाउ वी आर इन मार्च. By now, I think they must have at least had some kind of idea about next season, or maybe
I think
off-field issues. Like,
honestly, I would try a front three of Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, and Timo Werner.
yeah, I think that will be great. Again,
इतना fluidity है कि it would give headache to any defense.
I would still prefer Pulisic and Ziyech in starting 11s. That's me.
I mean,
Maybe because
you can
एक surety आती
you
है.
can get in Pulisic and Ziyech as possible pieces in there.
नहीं, that's the problem ना. So Ziyech doesn't want to be that. So Ziyech, at times people argue that वो sulk करता था, and that was maybe one of the reasons. We don't know. Pulisic is one that वो कभी भी वो left forward role में consistent run मिला ही नहीं उसको Chelsea में. That is something that I would like to see, because they are more direct players जो directly game play में affect करते हैं. I know runs were effective, but again it depends on the team. They are more dependent. वो एक individual quality लाते हैं, and that is what Chelsea has been, let's be real, in the last few years. So I think I
Because
would rather rely on them.
I was doing the watch along with you guys on the Carabao Cup final, and for a while in that game, the combination of Pulisic, Havertz, and वो तीसरा कौन था आपके पास आगे? The front line was
For
Mount, right?
no, in the Carabao Cup, Pulisic,
हाँ Carabao Cup front
Havertz,
line.
and Mount ही तो खेला था.
हाँ Mount था ना?
Mount.
हाँ, so that front line ran Liverpool ragged for a while in that game. मतलब
लेकिन
बहुत
फिनिश कहाँ
movement
किया.
था.
फिनिश. आप बुरी यादों को ताज़ा मत करो. Come on.
नहीं नहीं
But
नहीं
yeah, I
नहीं,
mean,
वो
fair
नहीं.
enough, fair
वो तो
enough.
मेरी तो हर वीक हो जाती है ना, हम लोग तो हर वीक फिनिश नहीं करते.
Fair enough. I think we are in the same boat then. Carlo Ancelotti, Man United नहीं होने वाला.
यार
Simple put,
I wish.
नहीं होने वाला. Come on, नहीं होने वाला. Let's be honest. ये वाला इंटरेस्टिंग रहेगा because come on, getting Maguire काफी नहीं था. अब सेवन को भी ला देंगे. Like I don't know what to say. I think maybe City is trying a pun here. I'm guessing. ये मेरा guess है. But
नहीं नहीं.
इस साला better है Henry. भाई साहब ये totally different players है भाई. आप compare कैसे कर सकते हो?
एक
I
विंगर है, एक
don't.
स्ट्राइकर है.
Exactly. You cannot compare
यार
at all.
पता है,
Like, you know.
लोगों को जाके ना थियरी ऑनरी की हाइलाइट्स नहीं, पूरे मैच देखने चाहिए. People have forgotten how good a player he was.
Absolutely. Malab, he is right in the top three. I would rate, Malab, I've gone on record. Thierry Henry, Sergio Aguero, and now maybe आप बोल सकते हो Mo Salah because he's a striker come winger. लेकिन I think Alan Shearer on his day, like awesome.
But still,
I know.
Shearer and Henry,
Yeah.
what Salah and Aguero did for like 6-7 years, these guys did for a decade plus.
Exactly. So they
मतलब
need
their
a
longevity is too much.
Absolutely. Yes, by the way, people जो भी join किया है, please do like the stream and of course, do share. अगर आपके पास social media है, do share it. It helps and subscribe यार. बहुत बार आप जैसे बोलता हूँ, we kind of watch channels and we don't subscribe. So only subscription doesn't cost you. Of course, any contribution you make is something that we would love as well. But again, we are not here for that. It's about the football chat. Most importantly, निशित का एक great question है. We'll actually create a different stream इसके लिए we need a proper 1 hour. So we'll create a different stream altogether. लेकिन हाँ, I have to unfortunately go to another channel and I'm live on NS Sports. But we'll be back. Watch along के लिए आज Luton Town versus Chelsea at 12:30 on Rock Baba, and we'll be back on Almighty Blues FC. So I hope everyone smashes that like button. Press that bell button, which is the most important aspect. लेकिन Sadiq भाई, now everything has happened. Whatever news has happened, एक चीज बोल दो यार, पॉजिटिव चेल्सी के लिए क्या होगा?
Right. The best thing is Chelsea has got an amazing academy in Cobham. So at least for the next 4-5 years, regardless of what the transfers are happening or whatever is not happening, you have enough of a backup behind you of really good players who could become world-class players in the future. So I don't see Chelsea going anywhere for the next 4-5 years, barring some completely out of the blue circumstance. They'll still be right there up at the top, competing for titles with the likes of City, Liverpool, and hopefully, yes, Manchester United as well.
Wow, and you know what? मैंने poll end किया है अभी. By the way, people, thanks for watching, liking the stream, and taking the poll. क्योंकि a lot of fans actually think कि Chelsea is doing the right thing by selling. Again, maybe brand value, maybe in circumstances. As a Chelsea fan, I wouldn't like it, but at least keep all our senior players. I wouldn't like to get rid of even one. Put it that way. हम transfers की बात किए थे. But again, thanks a lot for joining, Sadiq bhai. Next मिलते हैं. Hopefully, we'll meet soon. Hopefully, after a good week of football. And we are looking forward to the weekend. All the best for the Manchester derby.
Thank you.
Okay.